Good evening, everyone. This is Brother Benson Media, and I'm here again with our second session immediately after the Senate just had the closer for the day. So we are here, and there are few developments that we just want to talk about. One of the development was that Deputy President could not make it at 5. Remember, they were given allowance up to 5 p.m. so that the proceeding could continue, but that one did not take place. But the Senate were in session though, and there are few adjustments that were made. The senior counsel for the deputy president prior made a request that if they could be allowed to come back on Tuesday, and that one was very critical because it was going against the constitution. As we said earlier, this is a process that is really working within the timeline, and I think by the time they were closing, they agreed of them sitting on Saturday for the matter. And something that really also happened, we saw the legal team from the deputy president walk out of the Senate. The reason being that they did not get any instruction. I had people saying that they did not get any instruction from the client if they can proceed with the closing remarks, actually, which has been done by the legal team that is uh, representing the parliament. So there's so many intrigues that has happened within this period of some time, and few everybody has their own view. I tell you, if you go to the internet, social media, I tell you that is where you can get information what the people are saying. So that is also somewhere that. So before I continue, let me give my friend Miguda a chance to say hi to the viewers and maybe weigh the options. How are you doing, Mr. Miguda?
Yeah, I'm doing very fine. I believe that you can hear me loud and clear.
Yes, I can.
Yeah. To our viewers, welcome to the second session. We were here before the Senate resumed, and we were trying to look at reasons and consequences of Rigathi Gachagua missing in action by
Yeah.
moving to hospital in the midst of the session.
Mm.
And we are very grateful for your viewership and your comment on the comment section. So tune in. So we want to find out what has transpired between 5 p.m. and the closure of the today's session.
Okay. Thank you so much. And I just want to begin. Maybe you can give us your thought because the legal team from the deputy presidents just walked out of the Senate when there was a proceeding. What does that one mean?
First, we have to agree that this is a new developing in the country,
Yeah.
and the fact that it's a new developing, it comes with many new uh, new things people have never experienced before.
Yes.
Like we haven't seen a scenario whereby a council walking out of the Senate proceeding in the trial of a deputy president by removal in the office by impeachment. So this is the first time we are seeing the council of the defense team walking out of the Senate proceedings. So in my view, they ought not to have walked out because they were part and parcel of this proceeding.
Yes.
When this proceeding was being initiated and they agreed to be part of it, even by the time they were cross-examining their counterparts were present. So I don't see why they walked out of the Senate proceeding, whereas they expect their counterpart to listen to them. So it is not it is not a good move by the defense council,
Yeah.
since it is more of sure they are in contempt of the Senate. They
Yeah.
are showing disrespectful to the Senate
Mhm.
because the Senate were there, the Speaker was in the House, members of the Senate were there present, the petitioners were also present, but with them, they said that they should walk out. Why were they walking out at the first place? It means that they are in the contempt of the Senate. Number two, it's also creating another legal viewpoint, because what if we say that the Senate can make a decision over their action. They can go and sit back. Maybe a request can be heard from the petitioner side. And
Mhm.
once a request has been made,
Yes.
that by the time we were disclosing our remarks, the defense counsel walked out of the Senate proceeding. Does it mean that they dishonor this honorable house? Or does it mean that they dishonor the proceeding?
Yep.
So the Senate can make a ruling over that, that because you walked out of the proceeding, it shows that you did not honor the house. So there are some ruling can be made over that their action. That is number two. Number three, and last, maybe if they were part of the process and they have been participating and they claim that Rigathi Gachagua has been present from the word go. So why were they working if they were committed to the process? If they were committed to the process, they ought to have gone to the very end. That one will also give the petitioner a strong point. You know, if in case Rigathi Gachagua is impeached by the Senate and we have a new deputy president, he might proceed to court for some illegality, irregularity, and constitutional rights. So in the court, the the petitioner team will also have some strength over the case that when during the proceeding they
Mm.
walked out of the Senate proceeding. So sometimes if you don't need to make these mistakes because the case was not over. So they should have remained consistent and firm and calm so that they don't give their opponent a leeway to challenge them in the near contention in any court.
Okay, that's okay because like I have two questions to ask, and maybe you can assist me to understand. One of the questions that I need to ask is they might argue that based on the circumstances whereby their client, because you remember the senior counsel actually said that he only spoke with the medical team. He did not get accessibility to the client, you know. So it means they did not get any instruction from the client either to continue or not, because the only thing they have, like he had like a chest pain, that is what is there. So they did not have any instruction from their client what should they do in that particular scenario. That is one. Secondly, we saw they even asked the speaker the reason why they are walking out. They did not just walk out voluntarily. They said this is the reason why we are walking out because the client is not there. So that those are two. Then the second question is because like if you see how the uh, the the parliamentary side they were giving their closing remarks, you know, how can they give their closing remarks yet um the main witness in this case has not been cross-examined? Is that one um a- allowed in the law, you know?
I view it in this perspective because you have said that they walked out. Maybe in their defense, they can argue that we walked out
Yeah.
because our client was not in the chamber. Because, you know, other than before I get into my point, first, no, you have a right to advocacy. You have a right to be represented with an advocate of High Court of Kenya whenever you are in the trial.
Yeah.
So that right to hire an advocate to argue the technicality of the case
Yeah.
is with you. You have that right. So their client had a right to them, the counsels. So they will argue that because if we remain in the chamber,
Mm.
they will assume that we were representing him. So they
Mm.
will determine the case on the basis that he has a right to advocates, and advocates are here. So the case was on. So they were trying to dissociate with themselves with that argument that let us also miss the way our client is missing, so that they will say that we were not there. Our client was not there, the councils were not there. So our client did not have a right of fair hearing
Mhm.
because he was missing in action. Number two, our client not only a fair hearing, but
Yeah.
also he was not have an access to the advocates because we were not there. So they were just they are trying to create further arguments when they go to the higher courts because they see they are still going to fight back. So they're just creating some grounds
Yeah.
for arguments when they're going forward. But the main point with which we have to agree
Yeah.
as the people of this country that impeachment is a political process. It has
Mm,
nothing to do with the judicial process. So the moment you keep on telling your client to stick with the rules of the judiciary or to stick with the arguments of the advocate in the court, to some extent you are misleading your client. Or your client have in mind that he's going home, he has no interest in politics, so just trying to catch on everything. If it's a political process, let us take this political process and deal with it. It's very clear.
mhm,
I've had my friend Otinda Molo
mm,
during his submission. He has tried to say something which it has been an eye opener, even to the senators, that if you look at our laws, when they are arguing that the governor, their argument is based on the governors or deputy governors which have been removed by the Senate.
yeah.
They rely on those precedents.
Yeah.
So Tinamuru challenged them that no, in the case of governors, it is removal from office. But in the case of the deputy president, it is removal by impeachment. So they are distinct. There's that removal, and this Article 150 talk about by impeachment. So the person who being impeached is the deputy president, but governors are removed. So you cannot rely on the president, which is not consistent with the provisions of the law. That has been an eye opener to the argument of the petitioners. That
So
indeed it is a political process.
yeah, it is a political process, and I wanted to come to that. If he says so, that this one is removal by impeachment, and the one for governors is just removal, and we've seen uh, the governors, especially Governor Sonko, the former governor for Nairobi, and the former governor for Kiambu, both the two of them, they were removed from office, and that one is barring them from contesting for any political seat. So does it mean that even if it is through removal, not by impeachment, or removal by impeachment, still they cannot vie for political seat? Because if he says like that, I don't know. Does it mean that now the governors, if they can use the same argument and analogy, they can argue it that because this was not removal by impeachment, we are still we can still be considered to run for a political office?
Still, we have to agree that this is the first time it's happening in the country of Kenya.
Mm,
Because in the case of, that's why I told you that we do not need to rely on the precedent of Governor Sonko and Waititu.
yeah.
Because the Governor Sonko and Waititu, Governor Sonko moved up to Supreme Court, and Supreme Court pronounced itself clearly that they are not eligible to vie for any political seats.
Mhm.
But now that was a case of governor by removal. Now this is the removal by impeachment. So
Yeah.
we still have a chance to move to further courts to interpret to us that if it is removal by impeachment, does
Mm,
it bar the deputy from running the future office, or it can open for him another chance for a comeback? So this one is still a new one, Brother Benson. This one has never happened. So we are experienced for the first time. That's why we have there are so many developings, like even the issues of adjournment before the session. So you
mm,
have had even the timeline, it should be 10 days. So even the issue of whether the deputy president can come back or not
yeah.
is still an issue left
Oh.
to the court for interpretation, because you can argue that if that one is removal and
Mhm.
this one is removed by impeachment, now if it is removed by impeachment, doesn't mean that he can make a comeback, because governors cannot make a comeback because it's removal. So if it is by impeachment, doesn't mean they can make a comeback. Those are just left for the interpretation by the Supreme Court.
Okay. Now, again on the final submission, especially from members of the members of parliament, the attorneys made their final submission, and they they agreed. The Senate have agreed that the deputy president actually was requesting. Let me come back. Let me just reframe it. Deputy president was requesting for appearance on Tuesday, and if you look at that Tuesday, that one was past the timeline. Oh, yeah, they granted that request, but on conditionality that we have to sit on Saturday. Yeah, yeah. remember, yeah, we have to sit on Saturday. And now the 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 side of the parliament have made their final submission on reason why they feel like now the deputy president should be impeached. Yet the deputy president has not been cross-examined. How does this one play? Then immediately after cross-examining DP, so the case will end there, or they will still go on further submissions, or final submissions, maybe 2 or 3 um, minutes, or they just do their cross-examination. Then that's the end of everything.
Rigiji is buying time,
Hmm.
but he's buying time maybe through his councils, but on a borrowed time.
Hmm.
Because as things are, today he was supposed to be impeached. Tonight we at midnight we could have breaking news. Rigathi Gachagua has been impeached
Or
and
he
is
has
becoming
not.
the deputy president of the parliament. Okay, that was the plan. You see the way the speaker was very strict with the time today, that we are going to conclude this business conclusively by around 11:45 before
Mhm.
midnight. So they were very sure that they are going to impeach.
Okay, thank you so much. You're still waiting for me, Guda. Oh,
Hello,
thank you.
can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, my brother.
I think Rigias just played a very tactical move by going to hospital that he's sick. He's
Mhm.
suffering from an intensive chest pain. And issues of chest pain, for you to examine, you need an expert. So Rigias just move a very tactical card, which maybe some people who initiated this motion were not seeing. But with them also, you have seen them the way they have retreated, the speakers retreated, they have consulted, and also they have even given their final order that on Saturday, whether he is in or not,
Yeah.
they will have to conclude that business by Saturday because it's a constitutional requirement. It's a time-bound constitutional requirement that it must go within 10 days. So Rigiji was also trying to play his cards, and by his counsel, Paul Mute, requesting for Tuesday
Mhm.
to be the day he can appear.
Yeah.
I was sure I was muted that Rigathi Gachagua is going to recover up to before Tuesday. On Tuesday, you can come to court and say that my client has been uh, referred to South Africa, or my client has been referred to United Kingdom, or my client has been referred to New Delhi. So, what will you tell the people that your client has now been referred to New Delhi because the issues with the chest are those are very critical issues when it comes to health. Maybe we can't handle them in our country. So he has been elected to New Delhi. So so those are just after that. As a lawyer, you also have to prove to your client that indeed you haven't taken that money for granted.
For
You
granted.
try all
Y-
means, and it only that by chance you have lost your case, but at least you must showcase that you are really a hardworking person. So,
uh,
but the point must be understood that you know
mhm.
Ricky was having cards. He has exposed his cards, and his cards are now on the table. People are aware they can see their cards. That's why the speaker give them up to Saturday. The speaker is not that stupid. He knows that by Saturday, whether he appears or not, he will also have argument in the High Court in case he moves forward that we did not make our decision on Thursday. We extend it to Saturday. And Saturday, remember, it is a special sitting because Saturday people are not supposed to be the Senate. It is now called, in fact, they are now having a special sitting for the sake of Rigiji. They want to give him right to be heard.
Mhm.
So even if he moves to court that there was no fair hearing on Thursday,
Yeah.
we argue that okay, we extended to Saturday. Even if he moves to court that my counsel were missing, I was missing, but
Mhm.
your counsel resisted, and we agree unanimously with the petitioners and the defense counsel and the senators that we will be here on Saturday. So whether you are in or not, as
Mhm.
we continue the business because it's a constitutional timeline that within 10 days we have to finish the business. So we were just operating with the constitutional timeline. So they just exposed his cards on the table, and now the people are playing according to which card is going to place on the table.
Okay. So let me just read for you some, because I'm on X space right now. I'm trying to see what people are saying. I will go to Okuru Ekot. He posted something at around 39 minutes ago, and he said, let's cool a majority of the clueless senators as well as the speaker. on the provisions of the Act 145 5 regarding impeachment, the words are below, shall have the right to appear and be represented. Those are two things shall mandatory and to be represented if so that is what uh um uh the senior counsel is also senior counsel Okuru Okot is writing. And when you go there, there are so many replies on it, so many of it. So another thing he said, 28 minutes, you will be shocked. The desire for the title he which means excellency, and the present is more important than the deputy. So that is what is even going so now. And they say that 31 minutes ago, Otiende Amolo and Orengo are all at all are working hard. My friend told me the Gini Waseka. That is, you remember those. So there are so many. So what can you say about the senior counsel is say must be, it's shall mean mandatory, must be heard and be represented. So by the legal counsel working out, which means one, the representation is not represented, yeah, and is not also heard. So they have a case. That's according to what the senior counsel is posting.
I agree with the protocol that shall, must,
Yeah,
those are mandatory.
yeah,
And also, we used to say that yeah, they are not optional.
they are not optional.
May is optional, but shall is not optional. So it means if it shall, it must be in accordance with the provision shall. But I will just sometimes even if we just sometimes let's also try to be realist.
Mhm.
There are many shalls in this country which has not been followed,
Yeah, yeah,
and people have gotten their way. There are many shalls that people have not followed and they have gotten their way. Because why am I saying this? Constitution was not made. Man, the Kenyans people were not made for constitution.
yeah,
Constitution was made for us. Eh? Laws were made for human being, not human being for laws. Eh? I don't exist now because of the law.
yeah,
I, it is me who exists then the laws. The law doesn't exist then me. That is more of a jurisprudence. That's why I say it also needs an interpretation.
yeah,
But also we can argue that even if it is shall, that shall be heard, yes, shall be heard, but you cannot be heard when you are missing in action. We can only heard someone who is present. So if I say shall be heard and you are absent, how is that shall going to be executed? Shall can only be executed in your presence.
yeah,
And we have find out reasons why you are missing in action. And there are rulings which has been made in the house that bound you are missing in action. That on Saturday, even if the witness is not in court,
yeah,
or the client or the advocates are not in court, the session shall proceed. So it doesn't matter. It is shall, I agree that it is mandatory, but shall can only be executed if the person is present. We cannot execute shall in a vacuum. So even if it shall be heard, it shall be heard. We are going to rely on the ruling of the Kingi, the Speaker of the Nation of the Senate today on Saturday. That people are going to that ruling is going to bind all of us because if you look at the clerk, when the clerk was reading the order papers,
yeah,
clerk was very categorically that there were submissions by defense counsel Paul
yeah.
Muite,
Mm-hmm.
who was requesting on Tuesday. And
Yeah,
Paul Muite was requesting on Tuesday because he do not know the status of the client, except that is suffering from intensive chest pain.
yeah,
Whereas the counsel from the National Assembly requested that let proceedings go on in accordance with the rules of the House, that the proceeding can go on. So when the Speaker was weighing between the two submissions,
Yeah.
The speaker rely on Saturday. It means that he has given both of them a fair hearing. He has heard the defense counsel and he has heard from the petitioner counsel. So in his own decision or wisdom, he made a decision that let us stick on Saturday. At least he has given them a framework. So we cannot give defense counsel on Tuesday because they are demanding. And remember, we also have a petition as a discourse. All of these parties have that right to fair hearing. This right to fair hearing is not only exclusive to Rigathi Gachagua. Let
Hmm.
us be clear.
Hmm.
Right to fair hearing is not only exclusive to DP. The
Yeah.
DP shall be heard is not only exclusive to DP. It shall be heard, but also it must be present in the Senate with the senators. It
Yeah.
cannot be heard alone. So this, even when the petition, it was relying on the submissions of both the petitioner and the defense.
And the
That's what leads him to make that decision. So that decision binds both parties. So no wonder he's not bound by that party. So the fact that whether he shall be heard or not, if he is not on Saturday, the Senate will go on with the business, they will make a ruling.
So let's say, because like anything, we are talking about hypothesis. This is we just think like if something happens that okay, the his health um condition worsen and is flown out of the country. How can that one play part?
Yeah, hypothetical issues,
Hmm.
maybe,
Yeah.
if you are imagining.
Hmm.
What if there was another argument that what if he can resign on his sick bed that my health doesn't permit me to handle the duties of the deputy speaker, deputy president. Now I have resigned based on my advice from the doctor. What if he resigns? He will argue that I was still on the trial
Hmm.
and I've resigned based on health issues, not on the allegations.
Yeah.
So it's still, so he can also use that tactical move that I'm now in current hospital
Yeah.
and I've resigned because my doctor has advised me that my health cannot allow me to proceed the duties of the deputy president
Yeah.
for a certain period of time. So I'm resigning on health issues, not
Mm.
on
In
the allegations.
of
So,
impeachment.
so that where you are bringing the issue of hypothetical.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one it can view that way. Other thing, what if he doesn't resign and insists on his sickness? Even if he's from out of the country or he remains sick where he is, he doesn't appear.
Hmm.
But what I know is that
Yeah.
the Senate will continue with the proceedings based on the constitutional timeline that it must be concluded conclusively within 10 days. That is Saturday.
Okay. At what point do the supreme law of the land overrides the standing orders of the uh, either the House of the Senate or the House of the National Assembly, the lower house and the upper house? That we can say now this is the supreme law of the land. This is the constitution, because the shall and must, they must be heard and represented. That is the law. It's found in the supreme. But the timeline, the timeline of the Senate also is found in the law, where they say the 10 days is also within the supreme. I mean, in the law, in the constitution of the law, or is as per the standing orders of the House and the Senate.
That one is within the constitution. The 10 days the 10 days is within the constitution. That's why they don't want to violate the constitution. That's why they don't want it because they are also being guided by the constitution. Senate is a makeup of the constitution. It's constitution that makes the National Assembly, and
Mhm.
they're operating under the constitution. So, the way I've told you that Article 2 for any law, including customary, that is inconsistent with this constitution,
Yeah.
is inconsistent to an essence of inconsistency. It is null and void.
Mhm.
But the framework of the constitution tell us that it's a constitutional process that end uh, must end within 10 days. That's why if the Senate go beyond 10 days, they will be violating the constitution. They don't want to violate the constitution. Even though the Senate do operate their proceeding through standing orders
Yeah.
and also they are using the acts, the acts of parliament, the
Yeah.
statutes.
Yeah.
So even if they use the statutes and the standing orders, but still the constitution prevails over any other law. There is no law that supersedes the constitution. And that question was asked from the lawyer Masharia, Tom Masharia. And you see, if you are very keen about it, you understand the way he tried to maneuver. He tried to,
Absolutely.
he was beating around the bush. He never answered in accordance with the provision. He was saying that it is a constitution is a act is a creation of the constitution, but the question was, does act supersede constitution? Then he was saying no, the act is a product of the constitution.
Okay.
So I think it is a constitutional provisions that it must be within that timeline. It's a framework of the constitution, not an act.
Okay. Thank you so much. And something also I came to realize during these proceedings that um, you lawyers bana saa zingine anything that is touching on your client, whether if it is a bad, you tend to ignore it at all costs. You don't even touch it. Yeah. You tend to focus on those that favor your client. Why is that one so?
But as an advocate, you are representing your client. You are not representing your opponent. It's like
Yeah.
a football match.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen players of Arsenal
Yeah.
scoring their own goal? It will be their own goal. Why do you want to score your own goal? You defend, or you don't allow your opponent to score. It's a
Score.
contest whereby you don't know the outcome, but a winner must have something at the end of the day. But the good thing with there's a prize for everything,
Yeah.
I think. But why do you support your opponent and you know it is a contest in the court of law
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
you have been hired to defend
Mhm.
and you have that right of defense. You have to defend your client at all costs.
Yeah.
So it's upon the court. You know, if you go to court, there is something we have to distinct here, Brother Benson.
Yeah.
Our courts,
Mhm.
we borrowed our legal system and methods from the common law, that's the United Kingdom, because you know we were colonized by the by the Britain. So
Yeah.
most of our things we borrow from them. So our court is like the Queen's Bench or the Lord's Court in the United Kingdom, whereby in court, a judge is, we assume that a judge doesn't know anything. So
Mhm.
it's like adversarial, whereby it's only advocate who understand and knows the law. So they guide the court and the judge on determination. That's why in the judgment you find that they first read the petitioners, the respondent, then the judge make conclusion based on the submissions of the advocates. So
Advocate.
it's more of adversarial. But what's happening at the Senate is
Yeah.
not adversarial. And that's why you see you had Otinda Molo was saying, let me quote Otinda Molo because
Uh-huh.
it is not me who was saying this. Otinda Molo said that you might appear to be good in the eyes of the public or you might play to the gallery,
Uh-huh.
but you are making a grave mistake because you are dealing with adversarial position, whereas at Senate is more of inquisitorial,
Mhm.
whereby you don't depend only on the submissions of the advocate.
Yeah.
You can invoke other findings. That's why people like EACC were brought as witness number 3.
Yes.
People like Dr. Muller was brought
No.
as witness number 2. So
Mhm.
you invoke other things, you invoke other documents. So it might look like you are losing the case in
But
inquisitorial,
mhm.
but in the eyes of the public or the public gallery, but you're making progress. Like Mutesi.
Yeah.
Mutesi could appear like he was weak, but he
Yeah.
was making progress in his case because it is an inquisitorial. We assume that Mutesi do not know anything. So it is the Senate to find out
Yeah.
and can invoke any findings that we want to understand. That's why there is that room for questions
Questions.
from.
Yeah.
Yes, so you must distinct those things. So if you are from judiciary, that's why I said there are some uh, controversies here whereby people are used to adversarial because that's what we are used to. But what's happening today is inquisitorial, which
Okay.
happened there. So that's why you see that lawyers are trying to do what they do to save their clients in this scenario.
Okay. Thank you so much. One thing also I came to realize is one um despite um presentations or submission by the lawyer by the both councils. You know, in this case of senators, yeah, it doesn't matter. The legal team might be very powerful and very knowledgeable and very good in persecuting their case and in their submission, but it all boils down to the senators. You can do well, and they still say that we don't find anything um, we can hold him accountable of, you know, as compared to the courts. Yeah, because this is what is going to determine this is the voting that is going to make your informed decision. Is a personal decision, you know. You don't have to argue. You know, you're going to say, okay, he wants to be impeached. Then you say, okay, I don't feel like it was very fair based on the process, but it's a personal. It's not a legal decision.
Yeah, that's why we say it is before the jury to decide.
Oh, yeah, is a
Yeah,
oh, this is when the jury has to decide. Oh, okay, now I get you,
now
because
you get it.
now I get it. So this is where the jury usually comes in, you know, especially. So yeah. Now I'm good now. Now I feel Miguda. Thank you so much. And I saw Makubura was coming on the studio. I don't know the plans he has, whether you will do show at around 10 or tomorrow we might come also for just a recap of what happened from Tuesday. Was it from Tuesday?
Yeah, from Tuesday because we have exhausted the one for National Assembly
Yes,
from
Tuesday.
Tuesday. No,
And
from Wednesday. From
from
Wednesday.
Wednesday, yeah, and tomorrow also is a Friday. We will come here and at least do another analysis and and as but when we will be doing that, I think like immediately after the deputy president impeachment, whether the Senate will acquit or have him guilty, having impeached. Now that one depends with them. But I think this one also open up a very nice conversation about the leadership. You know, it's all about leadership and what can we learn from the motion mover, and what can also we learn from the process, and what are the things that actually as a country or as a voter, what are the some of the things that I should tend to avoid, especially when it comes to election matters. Should I elect somebody just because he's in a larger political party that we always insist, or should I elect somebody based on my interpretation and convincing that this is the best person for me? Then, secondly, should we also boast in emotions? Because if you look very keenly, people voted on emotions, but now if you look very keenly, uh, the parties that or the leaders who are competing against each other, that were bringing people to have those emotions, are now friends, and wewe bado uko hapo, bado umekasirika. So thank you so much, Biguda. You can say your final remarks as we close the show, and we thank everybody who was in this short recap of the show. And we'll come here tomorrow. I don't know what Makubura have.
My roundup to our viewers, the issue of, let me just talk about one thing. Um, you cannot celebrate an outcome of the case
Mhm.
after giving an ear to one presenter. Whereby one has submitted his case, so you think that is winning it. No. Even for you to realize that it worked that way, because Rigathi Gachagua was saying that he, he said that I talk about shares, but I never make any action of dividing Kenyans.
Yeah.
So today the respondent were like, the fact that you make an utterance
Mhm.
is admissibility, because the constitution said that there should be inclusivity. The constitution did not talk about action. The mere fact that you have uttered it, that is admissibility. So does it mean that you are admitting that you have you are in contrary with the contribution? Does it mean that you have contravened the constitution? So sometimes you need to be very keen about these cases, and we wish Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua a quick recovery, and let's meet next time to our viewers. Bye bye.
Okay, thank you so much. And on behalf of the channel too, we wish, I would say that, as you said, also our entire team, because we have Makubura, you, Barak, Kiplimo, and Ayaga. We have so many of us in the channel. On behalf of everybody, we wish the family of Deputy President well and quick recovery to His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua. And we hope that during this process in the Senate and something that we are watching, that everybody will get justice. Not only the Senate will give Kenyans justice, but even Rigathi Gachagua, or the deputy president who seems to be aggrieved, will leave the Senate, bearing in mind that justice has been served. And justice does not only mean that you have to win, that is when the justice is served. Sometimes you can lose the case, but it's still justice. So justice is either you win or you lose. But if you lose, did you lose fairly on a fair ground? Yes. If you accept there was a mistake that I did, but I was just trying to defend it, I lost on a very good ground, that's okay. And this also can be a lesson to fellow Kenyans, in political processes, um, especially when it comes to impeachment. What are the things that we should look for? So that those are some of the questions that now we need to go back as a country, or we need to go back as individual, and talk about them, discuss amongst ourselves, and look at ourselves and see, where are we going wrong as a country, or where are we going wrong as a people. Miguda, do you want to mention something about the Mashujaa Day, which is coming on Saturday? When is it coming? On
Mashujaa Day is coming on Sunday. So
Yeah,
on Monday we will also have holiday
on Monday.
because it falls on a weekend. So this next following day is automatically holiday. If it's fall on Sunday, the next day is automatically holiday. So Mashujaa Day will be out of Nairobi. They will be in former Coast Province, that is Kilifi County, but I'm just forgetting the name of the venue.
Okay. All right.
And also the other people will be in Nairobi. The Uhuru Park is open, and the Governor Sakaja has confirmed to us that it is open for everybody. So most of us will go to Uhuru Park.
Yeah. Yes. So where the heroes and heroines, the Gen Z generation, are going to be celebrated as heroes. And
Yeah, we'll go to Uhuru Park, most of us, even most of the people will be at Uhuru Park. But now there was a certain team who are also proposing to go to Narok,
yeah,
the Morara team. So
it's
there are so
okay.
many things happening on the X, but there's
It's
no
okay.
problem. We will see who will pull a crowd.
Yeah. There's one thing that I really love about Kenya as a country. Despite the fact that sometimes we complain a lot, but Kenya has a lot of space. Let me tell you. That is something that we have to appreciate as a country, even though there are those challenges that we are going through as a country. But there are some of the things, that the privileges that Kenyans are enjoying, that some other countries cannot enjoy. Yeah, I tell you, someone, even like the podcast that we usually have and discuss about the leadership of this country. There are some other countries that you cannot have such like podcast and have such like discussion. So despite the fact that we are going through challenges with the leadership and all that, that's how we grow, because that space is there. You can criticize the president anytime you feel like. You can criticize the leader of opposition, if you may call it Raila Molo Odinga, but life goes
You
on.
know, Brother, just one of something small.
Yeah,
Kenya,
yeah,
you have said the truth. Kenya has got that space, that democratic space, and also
yeah,
that freedom. That's why you have had people are even saying anything about Ruto,
yeah,
and there's nothing there because we have a very progressive constitution and transformative one. And if you want to know that we are at liberty, unlike other countries,
yeah,
in Kenya you can find people from Uganda,
yeah.
from Congo, DRC, from Rwanda, from Tanzania without any documentation, and they're doing business in Kenya,
And
and
they're
there's
doing,
no one even following them. They have big shops. They are selling clothes. Some are even selling tea with flask. The Rwandese, and they don't even have documentation, and they just came by the road, and they
yeah,
were not even cleared. See, they have Kenya is free. That's what I can say. Kenya, and they live amongst us. Some are our neighbors. No one is reported to the police station. You see, Kenya is a free country. That's what I can say. Other than other small challenges which they are there,
absolutely, yeah.
but there are some things you can celebrate that with the dispensation of the Constitution 2010, we have made a step as a country.
And we also have to give kudos to even the leaders, even though we kind of like raise some issues about the kind of leadership that they are offering. But at the same time, sometimes they do admit. On several occasions, I've seen few leaders admit we were wrong. So that is also something that we have to appreciate ourselves for as a country, and that one makes us grow. Mako Miguda, thank you so much, and may God bless you. Communicate with Mako Bura, Barak, and the rest when you can have a show. And thank you so much. May God bless you.
Excuse me, Brother Benson.
Mhm.
Maybe Barack might not come in. Barack today is being hosted at the local radio,
Yes.
Mayenga FM. So if you can tune in at Mayenga FM at 10 p.m., you'll meet one of our panelists, Barack.
Unajua, did you tell them even one of the council who is in the parliament is have been hosted in this channel?
Yeah, we told them that we have hosted two councils here. One, Willis Otieno, Pikipiki Pongi,
Yes,
was humble and came here. Two, Nebei,
the Bay.
who is the defense counsel in the team of Rigathi Gachagua.
Yes,
You
he
see,
was.
the way you don't need to have grudges with the people because he's one of us.
Yeah,
He's defending Rigathi Gachagua. You might want Rigathi to go home. But you see, even if you differ in opinion, doesn't mean that you are not friends.
yeah.
That's how life is.
And we are also proud of him because
And we are proud of him. And in fact, we will host him here and he will tell us the technicality
we
after
will.
when the cases will be over. We'll host him here and he will discuss to us how it was because he was in the forefront.
Okay, thank you so much, my brother, and may God bless you.